Thank you for invitation. My speech today's speech is an opportunity to be able to present to show you the new Isyde project, our Isyde project. We will see which is under the ownership of my general directorate, and has been funded by under the Italian national program RVF, Security for Legality 21-27. But first of all, is necessary in order to understand, to better understand the context. It's necessary to provide an overview of anti-fraud policies, where we are at the level of European and national regulations of a structural fund, and also for RRF. We could say once upon time, but I try to decide the issue of combating fraud that we have already seen in the course of the various seminars held in the past as well, is the subject of special attention with European legislation. In this regard, the treaty on the functioning of the European Union, in specific in the Article 3 to 5, named Fight Against Fraud, defines the principle of assimilation, which requires member states to adopt for the fight against fraud affecting the financial interests of the European Union, the same measures they normally use to combat fraud affecting their own national financial interest, and describes the necessary coordination of anti-fraud action between the European Union and then national authority, obviously. Specifically in the chapter 6, the article 3 to 5 provides that the member states and the union should combat fraud and other illegal activity affecting the financial interest of the union by taking dissuasive measures that afford effective protection, by coordinating the action, and by organizing a close and regular cooperation between the competent authorities, and also under shared management. The financial regulation, the last financial regulation in the article 6.3, financial regulation number 1046 of 2018, the primary responsibility for prevention, detection, and correction of irregularity and fraud lies with the member states, which must implement a robust management and control system, the famous management control system, to ensure sound financial management, obviously, also transparency and non-discrimination. So in this scope, the common regulation of the structural fund, the current programming period 21-27, established that the member states, in the Article 69 of the common regulation, the 1060 of 21, member states should ensure the legality and the regularity of expenditure included in the accounts submitted to the European Commission, and should take all necessary actions to prevent, detect, correct, and report irregularities, including obviously fraud. Such action include collecting information of beneficiary owners of recipients of union funding. In the rule of combating fraud is a a common a community provision of the structural fund, while also it was present in the previous period, 2014 2020 program period, that which require for the first time in the structural fund that member states provide to ensure they in their management control system to prevent, detect, and correct irregularity, including fraud. And for this scope, the European Commission, or better, the expert group of the European Commission for Structural Fund, AGESIF, the acronym is the very famous acronym, like Note Guidance Note AGESIF, described that how adopted in 2014 and specific guideline guidance note on fraud risk assessment and effective and proportionate anti-fraud measures. And in this note, the European Commission recommended to managing authorities, to the responsible of the single operation program co-financed by Structural Fund, to adopt a proactive, structured, and targeted approach to fraud risk management. And recall among the different IT tool to support this process, the Aracten information system that I already described in the previous speech during the seminar. And Aracten is an instrument made available to all the member states and used by the Italian member state, but for all the specific operational program that will be able to support verification activities in order to identify projects, beneficiaries, contractors, potentially most exposed to fraud risks. The Arachnid system that is fed by external data sources, such a global database as for example, Orbis or Work Compliance, and other is combined matching to other information system and internal data source from the single member state. In Italy, the data resource are from IGUE database for the structural fund, for the current programming period, Regis also for the because the Regis is the Italian system for the National Recovery and Resilience Facility Plan, because Arachne is used also for the Recovery and Resilience Facility Resilience Plan, or other for Italian, just for Italian, is sure using the Arachne system. And why? Because along this line, I just described, is also the RF regulation included in also, even if the RF regulation is included in the direct management and known in the shared management as a structural fund, including the specific rule about the prevention, correction, and detection of fraud. According to the provision of Article 2022 of the regulation, RRF regulation, the 241 of 2021, in order to ensure the protection of the financial interest of the Union, is necessary that the member state ensure during the implementation of national recovery and resilience plan the presence of an effective and efficient internal control system aimed at preventing the same expression, the same word using for structural fund, for the sharing management um, uh, the sharing and management system for preventing, detecting, correcting the fraud, corruption, conflicts of interest, as well as recovering amounts wrongly paid of incurred users. Moreover, the guidance of the recovery resilience facility elaborate and published in January 2021 by the European Commission recommended to this scope that the member states make use of existing national management control system as well as such and bodies or in other way also the authorities already use it from the other EU fund in specific the structural fund, suggesting de facto that the way to combine a control process and procedures already existing for our administrative system with additional controls inspired from the world of social fund in particular to ensure coverage and of the specificities related to the implementation instrument of the plan that will take into the in due account not only the regularity of expenditure, but also to the achievement of milestone and target. So the management control system adopt for the NRRP, for National Recovery Resilience Plan, is a mechanism that combines ordinary control provided of the current administrative system with a specific control for the national resilience recovery and resilience plan relevant to each facility involved in EU reimbursement flow, according in a multi-level, or in Italy, in a multi-level system that involve implementing body, central administration, intervention provided for the National Recovery Resilience Plan by the central governance and audit unit of RRF. In this context, the anti-fraud system defined for the National Recovery Resilience Plan the action and the obligation that each administration already put in place in execution of the requirement of national registration and internal regulation with additional measures and other action that need to be implemented to provide adequate guarantees to protect and proper use of financial resources of the EU budget. These are measures that central administration that own and national recovery resilience plan measure must proceduralize with the management control system in and related manual and operational tools provide for all the appropriate adjustment according to the specific and obviously the complexity of the intervention to be put in place in terms of activation procedures and the legal nature of the actors involved. And this is the way that's why we say that the European funds are fully part of zero tolerance to zero tolerance toward illegal activities, creating a solid control system aimed at preventing and identifying fraudulent activity and in this promptly correcting the consequence. Just in order to prevent, detect, and correct a case of fraud, corruption, conflict of interest, double financing, ensure the proper use of next generation EU funds in market for the national recovery and resilience plan. An organizational model has been designed to support the oversight provided by the General Inspectorate for NRRP. The General Inspectorate is a central coordinating structure in coordinate in the ministry, at the Ministry of the Economy and Finance. In this context, we the member state has established the network of anti-fraud reference for the NRRP network composed for the central administration entitled to NRP measure with the task of directing and guiding the action put in place by the individual administration involved in the implementation of the plan, and through a common general strategy of ensuring the dissemination of homogeneous and effective anti-fraud solution practices. We call this group or subgroup we call the anti-fraud referral network and anti-fraud network. And in addition, they established an operation group for the self-assessment on fraud risk with the central established for all the central administration holding responsible for NRRP measure, with the task of declining the overall anti-fraud strategy into sector strategies through the development of an accurate fraud risk assessment from which action are derived to prevent, counter, and sanction any fraudulent behavior, protecting the plan's resources. In this context, all of measures described were also implemented, of course, for the Ministry of the Environment and Energy Security, for the measure under the responsibility of our ministry, for the RRF measure under our responsibility. And in the NRP management control system of the Ministry of Environment, which has a department structure and implementation of the responsibility of the single measure, and therefore remain with the institutional competent directorate, other specific general directorate of the ministry. However, under the general director, my general director for financial management and monitoring, accounting, and control, the acronym is DG JEFIM, has established a process for verifying compliance with EU anti-fraud regulation, and the identification effective measures are ensured, particularly with regard to the prevention, detection, and rectification of fraud, causes of corruption, mafia or criminal infiltration, conflict of interest, and obviously double funding for financing. Therefore, my directorate, my general director has developed and approved a specific anti-fraud strategy for an RRP investment under our responsibility, and in particular in line with the EU guidelines and the guidelines provided by the Ministry of Economy and Finance. We participate in the National Anti-Fraud Network with represented by the general director of DG we established and share the fraud risk self-assessment group of the Ministry of the Environment, and within the fraud risk self-assessment, the fraud risk self-assessment group has approved and updated the National Recovery Resilience Plan for the risk self-assessment tool concerning the Ministry of Environment measures. In line with this context just described, in line with this virtuous path undertaken a long time ago, the DGJFIM, my director, has accepted the invitation to participate through the Isyde project in the National Security for Legality program co-financed by European Regional and Development Fund, VEF, for the current programming period, 2021-2027, and is the main object of this program, or this part of this call for proposal, is to define straight actions aimed at combating corruption, crime, and illicit behaviors through the support and advanced digital systems. In the project Isyde is acronym for Integrated System for Fraud Detection, is a platform to prevent and combat fraud and management fund provided by the Ministry of Environment, was presented, as I already said, by DGJF in my direction, and was admitted to financing for an amount of over 5 million euro to be from or with RDEF co-financed by RDEF resource of the National Program Security for Legality 21-27. The object of this project is to create a platform because Isyde is a platform integrate to support the Ministry of Environment anti-fraud measure in the management and allocation of financial resources allocated in various capacities to a wide range of implementing bodies, both public, private, big, small, with particular reference to the PNRR, to RRF funds, intend in particular to the territory of the last developing region that correspond in our state from the Mezzogiorno, the south of Italy. The Isyde platform is to prevent the misappropriation of public funds, incorporate and ad hoc, we intend to incorporate ad hoc risk indicator, specific technology for data analysis. We are to design.
You have 5 minutes.
Okay. Design the fraud, the anti-fraud standards, meet with the EU anti-fraud standards, and in other words, Isyde will be a user-friendly system of a modular type, capable of driving and integrating information from different sources, analyzing, correlating them in a real-time based on a specific fraud risk indicator, and as well as providing a predictive analysis report useful for strengthening the ability of the Ministry of Environment to detect fraudulent conduct and support the fight against the prevention of fraud. In this slide, you can see the main phases of Isyde, the project which just started as scheduled for completion in 2026 and is mainly composed of several project pieces. The pieces, the platform is to be designed to accommodate specific needs in anti-fraud activities. We try to follow the IT development of a platform and its maintenance. The phase of technical support for the construction of the organizational model information and definition of the set of specific risk indicators from my directory, and also through the interview and study of technical documentation, mapping and analysis of fraud risk parameters. And obviously, there are then the phase of the macro phase of the define the hardware and software acquisition, and the phase of the phase of support and training delivery in hybrid mode, providing the activation of innovative change management processes, system for evaluation and verify the outcome of training delivery, and the promotion divulgation phase that is include the specific action for the communication, for the visibility of, for guarantees the visibility of a platform supported by a promotional activities on institutional website, and obviously social media as is possible. In other way, and this is my conclusion, in other way, we intend to develop a system to combine the different experience gained both on structural fund and on national recovery resilience plan, including the results of the studies and activity we saw today in the previous speech, described excellently by Professor Arezzo, to support to all the measure combine is to support control processes and to define a sampling system based on a risk assessment that allows to focus control on those who need to be controlled according to the principle of proportionality and efficiency, and in full compliance with the sound financial management recalled by European Union regulation. That's all. If you have any question I hear, thank you for attention.